Hi there, it's that nerd Kaizen, and today we're going to be talking about the Americas Stage 1 playoff race and like how the majority of these teams here have a legitimate chance of making it to Masters Toronto. 6 of them I can legitly see, and the other 2 can have an amazing Cinderella story. We'll be talking what it would mean for them to make it to Masters and their pathway to possibly reaching there as well. First, let's start off with 100 Thieves, and if they make it to Masters Toronto, congratulations. You guys will most likely get to keep your jobs. Plus, we actually will get to see how good 100 Thieves really are. Because so far in the group stages, they've only beat Evil Geniuses, an 0-5 Loud team, and 2G, which isn't too far behind Loud either. You can only play the people that you're signed up to face against. And right off the bat, they have an unlucky matchup against MIBR that has Aspas as well as Verno on the team. We'll get into them later. But I do want to mention that if they make it to Masters Toronto, both EU and Xander will be able to represent their country while competing, which is kind of cool. I always like that. Regardless, I think each 5 of these members on this team are incredibly talented and can go pretty far. They might lose to Made in Brazil, but they should be Evil Geniuses, even though I have Evil Geniuses winning in my pick'ems. Because like, every tournament has at least one upset. If your tournament doesn't have an upset, then it wasn't a good one. So they should be Evil Geniuses, and realistically, they will probably need to make a lower bracket run to 3rd place. In my opinion, the X factor for 100 Thieves making it to Masters Toronto will have to be Asuna and Busia firing on all cylinders. I'm really focusing on them because we already know what we're going to get from Cryo. Cryo is going to be here clicking heads and taking names. Same thing with EU. If 100 Thieves really want to make that next step, they got to look at Asuna, who has a crazy veteran experience, as well as Busia. At least for Asuna's case, he's been up and down a lot. He hasn't been really all that consistent. Sometimes he will have amazing maps, other times it'll be subpar. And Busia has been at the bottom of the scoreboard a lot. To be fair, he is an IGL, so we're not asking the IGL to top frag, but you shouldn't be going double negative either. Plus, them making it to Masters Toronto will help crucially with these champs points. Basically, everyone from Sentinels all the way to freaking NRG can still realistically get enough champs points to qualify for Paris, but only time will tell if 100 Thieves shows us what they're really made of. Next, we'll talk about C9. Them making it to Masters Toronto means that they finally got that playoff monkey off their back. This team has been known to be regular season fiends, just looking phenomenal, the next best thing since sliced bread. But for whatever reasons, when it comes to a tournament fashion setup, they always fall short. I don't know what it is. But hey, you know what they say, winning cures all. So all that past hate that the organization has been getting in Valorant will be a thing of the past. And I think Cloud9 has a very good chance at that. They've been taking top teams to the edge and almost beating them, like G2 and MIBR. Now for me personally, the X factor for Cloud9 making it through is definitely has to be Oxy. I don't know if it was just G2 or maybe it was himself, but he kind of got shut down when they were going against each other. Zeppa and Vic are going to be needed too, and Mick has been good from time to time. And we can't forget about the fact that Net has been a decent IGL as well. At least I think he's been an IGL. Realistically, Cloud9 is the definition of a dark horse. I could see them winning either the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd place spot, but we'll know pretty soon if they're able to get that playoff monkey eradicated from their club. Evil Genius was another organization that was quite hated by the fan base for a while due to them not being able to pay their players because of esports winter. Regardless, I think people are liking Evil Geniuses a little bit more now because of Potter and yay. Regardless, winning cures all, and if they're able to make it to Masters Toronto, all that drama will be a thing of the past. Plus, I'm pretty sure the NA crowd would love to see Ye on stage as well as Potter. And them making it to Masters Toronto would just prove that Evil Geniuses has some crazy system of creating diamonds from coal real fast. Basically making them the Dortmund of the league. For them to make it to that international stage, it will be a legendary lower bracket run. For me personally, I think low-key Evil Geniuses' best player has been Derek. He's been constantly up there on the scoreboard and providing clutches from time to time as well. Shoot, we even seen glimpses of Ye rewinding time and being great again. But honestly, if they can get Superman constantly fragging and in positions to outduel the enemy team, then they can legitly surprise some people. But for Evil Geniuses to make it to Masters Toronto, it would have to be a 3rd place finish for me. Plus, those champ points will come in handy. Here we have G2. We don't have to spend too much time on them, mainly because they're hella stacked. Making it to Masters Toronto will just be one more step closer for them to redeem themselves on the international stage. Plus, Jonah P will be holding it down for Canada too. If anything, it would be shocking if they miss Masters Toronto. I can legitly see them going 1 or 2. But it is a possibility that they might miss Masters Toronto, just because of how stacked the Americas really is. But let's not forget about the red hot Kru Esports team. Them qualifying will be great for the South American fan base. Plus, it would be nice to finally get some experience on the international stage before they make champs again, because that's Kru's whole thing. They always make champs. And whenever they do make it to champs, they don't go that far. And I do have a theory that might have something to do with the fact that they don't get a lot of experience at the international stage beforehand. And I could see them go pretty far, as long as they don't face evil geniuses before reaching the top 3. For me personally, when it comes to the X factor for Kru Esports, it's the whole damn team. Of course, Kesnet is good, but you have Shy, Mazinho. Anybody on any given night could be the one top fragging for this team or contributing huge. They will most likely face MIBR, which will be a very interesting matchup to see. Regardless, I could see Kru placing somewhere in the top 2. And speaking of South American faces, Made in Brazil would add on to it if they make it to Masters Toronto. And I think that would be desperately needed, since Les was the one holding it down for the whole region in the last one. Plus, I think a lot of people will be happy to see Verno drinking the tears of NRG if he makes it and they don't. At the beginning of this year, all the pressure on this team was on Aspas's back. But now it's looking like Corsasia and Verno are carrying some of that load off of his back. I know this might be a bit wild for some of you ass-pass sexuals out there, but I low-key think Verno might be the best player on this team. Him, Aspas, and Corsasia are the heavy hitters, and if they show up big, I can actually see this team taking the #1 spot. Now, when it comes to fan favorites, we gotta talk about NRG. Them making it to Masters Toronto would prove that the power of friendship isn't dead. And it would be good for Finesse too, seeing how he's Canadian, plus save his legacy a little bit. The X factor in this team for me is definitely Sam and Mata. I think all they really need to do is clean up their team coordination as well. However, their path to Masters Toronto might be the hardest. Right off the bat, they're either going to be playing against MIBR or 100 Thieves. And then from there, they can't lose a single game to the lower finals. But if they do, that would be great for their champs points and possibly even shoot them up into that 3rd place spot when it comes to seeing who will qualify for it. But if NRG do make it to Masters Toronto, I think at best it will be a 3rd place finish, which is good enough. Lastly, we have Sentinels. And if they make it to Masters Toronto, I'm sure Riot and every other VCT esports content creator will be happy, practically overjoyed, because they get to milk this team even more. Them making it to Masters Toronto would also be a good step forward in overcoming the shadows of last year's team. A lot of people like to compare this team to the last one, at least they did earlier in the season. One thing that last year's team wasn't able to do was qualify for every single tournament. So doing so with Masters Toronto will be a step forward into making their own name. For me personally, the heavy hitters / X factor for Sentinels are Zekin, John QT, and Narrate. Bang isn't anything to sleep on either, and Zelsus can be clutch at times too. I really feel like Sentinels' worst enemy can be themselves. They can beat anybody as long as they have legit good vibes. I can see them placing anywhere from 1, 2, 3. I truly feel like this America's playoff is so wide open. I wouldn't be surprised if 6 of these teams make it through, and the other 2 probably would be a Cinderella run, but a welcome one anyways if it does happen. As always, you guys let me know what you agree or disagree with. Till then, stay safe, be a KDA warrior, and I'll see you later.